Hey guys, how we doing tonight, man? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Of course, I am your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at Cryptocurrencies.com. Making sure my mic's on. Yes, it is. Cool. Not clicking any buttons, not breaking anything. It's Saturday night, February the 23rd, foul year of our Lord, guys. And I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic, guys. Of course, if this is your first time to the show, make sure to go ahead, hit that like button. We highly appreciate it. Subscribe if you are a new watcher. Let's get into this, guys. All right, cool, man. Checking out what's going on in the Discord and with you lovely people. Right. Hey, what's going on, Fox? Good to see you, my good friend. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Make sure I got all my tabs open up so we can do this. Okay, so without words necessary, guys, pretty exciting time in the market, man. My personal situation, we'll get into my personal situation here in a little bit. The positions that I've put on, the positions that I've put off, the positions that I've taken profit off of. And I mean, pretty much, again, we'll get into this when we get into the charts. I just want to do the regular stuff, guys. So head on over here. Okay. Still got the X42 Masternode giveaway, guys. Giving away 5 Masternodes worth of X42. So make sure that you head on over to x42.crackingcryptocurrency.com so you guys can participate in this, guys. Already 916 people in. We're going to see if we can break that 1,000 mark, guys. 1,000 entrants. That's pretty awesome. Pretty excited. Thank you guys so much for making this happen for us. Investing in this service and this giveaway was very well worth it. You know, we gave away 3 monthly spots to our premium trading group last month. We're giving away the X42 Masternode. We're going to follow this up with giving away a bunch of MMO coin. And then we'll also follow that up with potentially giving away another supporter of the show's coin as well. All right, so keep in mind, guys, that if you want to trade along with us, links at the top, guys. Check out everything that we offer at premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. And of course, we are still looking for anybody that'd like to help us out with graphics. So some thumbnails for our YouTube videos. Anybody that is interested, is a good writer that can help us out, push out some of our content. We do a lot of, we do a lot of writing, a lot of charting, a lot of articling. I'm pretty sure that's a technical term. So if you guys are interested in that, if you guys would like to help the community out, make sure to hit us up in the Discord, or you can hit us up at contact@crackingcryptocurrency.com, or anybody with video skills as well. We've been very, very pleased with the amount of people that's come forward to help us out with videography. So. All right, so enough of that being said. All right, so let's get over to the charts, guys. Just an exciting day. Just a fantastic, beautiful, awesome day in the market, man. Full of, as I said, cheers to the hodlers, guys. Pretty much exactly what we talked about for our last show. All right, let's bring open the chart. Pretty sure. There we go. All right, now things are working. Let me edit the schedule here. We're going to spend a lot of time today on Bitcoin and Ethereum, naturally. We're going to do some long-term analysis. We're going to do some short-term analysis. Starting off with Bitcoin. Okay. All right, everything looks good on the. Hopefully everybody can see that. I'm going to go ahead and take. Now I'll go ahead and leave that on for now. That just means that I do need to move. Thanks, guys, for your patience in dealing with slight modifications. All right, slide that there. Hopefully you guys can see that really well. Now let me pull up in the chat. I want to give a big thank you, guys. I see Jasper, man. I see Rotors. What's going on? Real Stogger Roach. I see Rick. What's going on, dude? Xantimus. I see. Are you watching? I see Newton. I see Hassan, Blockchain Cheeseburger, man. I see Peter, what's going on, my good dude? Vincent Yag. My wife doesn't believe in me. Good to see you. Caribbean Crypto Show, thanks so much for following. Mike. All right. And if I missed anybody, oh, Theory, I see you too, man. Power to achieve. If I missed anybody, I apologize, guys. All right, so before we get into the lower time frames, let's start with where I think all analysis should start, on the higher time frames. So, things going along just as I wanted them to. The last time that you remember that we spoke, and which we'll see when we get down to the daily chart, And you know, I do want to get rid of this left price scale. So hopefully that it doesn't like that. So it will not leave the chart. That's the total dollar weighted price scale. You know what? And this is for those of you who did not listen to me yesterday. I am very, very upset. It will not go away. Darn you. I am very upset with TradingView for their recent update. I do not like this whole I do not like this whole new price scaling thing. I really do not. It really bothers me. I don't like the changes that they made. Oh, this is fantastic. It's going to make it easier for everybody. No, it's really not. Okay, so looking to close the week, looking to close a very bullish week, guys. Breaking out of the resistance downtrend and now currently price action finding itself exactly at the weekly level of resistance. So this is the third test, really the first test after it was established. So after we established the bullish equilibrium block right here back in November, back at the end of November after the big decline, and now price has just ranged in this area for the last 2 months, really the last 3 months to be quite honest. But anyways, not important. Eli back, thanks so much for the super chat, my good friend. IOP, of course, man, as always. Thank you so much for the $7, my good friend. Had to test with the $2 before we threw the $5 down. All right, of course, man. I'll throw that on the schedule. Thank you so much, man, for the support. You're one of the good ones, my good friend. Thank you much for the 17, man. Of course, dude. We'll check out IOP. See what's changed since the last time we've looked. That's your coin of choice, my good friend. Thank you, man. You're one of the good ones, bro. Thank you so much for the support. All right, so price finding its way back right in the horizontal level of resistance. So what does that mean? Just on a blank time frame, you short resistance and you long support. So even though when we get down to the daily time frame and the 8-hour time frame, you'll see that there are potential reasons to assume that it will be different this time. Of course it will be different. We're going to 9,000. Could. Possible. We absolutely could, man. But until then, until proven wrong, until we see what I need to see for me to confirm that we've really broken, that we're really going to break out and go on a run, I really don't think that that's the likeliest scenario for multiple reasons. The longs to shorts ratio, the total market cap, which we can go over, the level of horizontal resistance, and just time dilation, man. So after a very long downtrend, you can see here that when price began consolidating, when price began contraction, it took a significant amount of time. It took about 98 days. It took about 98 days for price to consolidate to move to the downside. Now we've had a similar amount of consolidation, a similar amount, about 91, 98 days to break to the upside. But I don't think that we have had enough price contraction to break out of all of this, out of the entire bear market. I do think that what naturally follows and progresses, a strong trend to the downside, as we've been in since the all-time high at December 17th, is an extended period of consolidation, which I really don't think we've seen. So until proven otherwise, just on its face, this is very simple for me. It's a retest of resistance, an area where I would ideally like to be in a short, which I am now. And it also represents what I think is irrational exuberance on the part of people who think that this is all it takes to break out of a bear market. All right, going down to the daily time frame. Well, hold on. Let's look at some other data metrics here on the weekly. Here on the weekly, if we do end up rejecting from here, it would be considered on the Fisher transform. It would be considered a rejection from the neutral zone and a continuation of the bearish pattern. Going down to the daily time frame. All right. So just as we talked about, guys, sticking to my guns and doing exactly as I talked about. When we were down here in this period of consolidation, which looks fairly clean. Actually, Ether looks much cleaner. The Ethereum chart looks much cleaner, and that's why I've been interested in trading Ethereum. Took Ethereum long from 122.50, scalped it a few times in the consolidation range, and then it broke to the upside. So if you guys remember, the last time that we talked about, I said that I was no longer right here. So just yesterday when we were talking, when we were doing yesterday's show, I said that I was no longer an interested buyer and I was looking for opportunities to sell. But I would not be surprised to see one last leg up to liquidate shorts because I don't think enough shorts had been liquidated. We saw a massive, and the reason why that was made even more poignant for me was because of a almost a dramatic increase in the number of shorts that occurred about last night. So the number of shorts that increased last night was quite exponential. There was a huge amount of shorts that were put on last night, and I just felt very strongly. That that was not likely to play out well for the shorts. Generally, the market is prone. The market is designed. The way that the market moves is it moves toward liquidity, meaning that it will not generally make a radical shift in the opposite direction without a significant change in volume or sentiment. In this case, the longs and shorts ratios represent sentiment, and obviously volume is volume. So a couple different things here. A little bit of volume divergence here on the daily time frame as well. Pulling open time transformation. This is the first time that we've reached overbought conditions since back in August. This is the first time that Bitcoin has been able to reach overbought conditions. And for one of those reasons alone, this is just confirming what basic price action is already telling me. Key levels of horizontal support and resistance. This is telling me alone that I think that the movement, the reaction from this level would be quite violent. And that's what I am placing my money and my bets on. All right. So I'll give you guys a brief update on my position. So this is how my day went. This was Saturday. I did promise to spend a little bit more of extended period of time with my family, which I did end up doing. For that reason alone, I was not at my computer, not at my desk to really take advantage of the movement to the upside. Last night to the members lounge, I had posted a potential long on Ethereum. Although I pulled that trade for myself because I knew I was going to be away from my desk because of the situation, wanting to spend time with my family. So I wasn't personally able to take advantage of the ETH/USD long to the upside. And we can look at that when we get into the area. Again, very congruent to what I was saying yesterday as well. I said that I'm no longer an interested buyer of Bitcoin, and the reasons why, again, if you've been following the show for a while. So when we did have that nice clean breakout above the resistance trend line, you guys will recall I was already long on Ethereum from 122.50. This green level right here was at 1 point yellow, which was the initiation level, which is the level that if we go above is the breakout call to go long on. We hit all my upside targets. Looking here on, so this is the tether chart. So let's go look at the MEX chart here real quick. So it's going to be more indicative of how I was basing my analysis. Also close FXLS as well. We'll merge all scales onto the right. That seemed to fix it last time, and yes, it did. Okay, so after that nice clean breakout above the initiation level of 36.50, we hit all my upside price targets, 37.80, 39.30. Now, if you guys recall yesterday when we were doing the video, I had plotted out two higher price targets if price did break to the upside for a higher leg. Price did end up hitting on this, guys, so you can see. Price did end up hitting 41.31, which was the initial take profit target, which is the lower time. This is the 3-hour chart, which is the upthrust above the weekly resistance level. Coming in very nicely right here. I don't really like how my labels are overlapping. It makes it difficult to reference them. 40.96, sorry. The level that I've been talking about for quite a while. So just more things that I don't like about Bitcoin, or excuse me, about TradingView's update to their scaling. I'm really ticked off about this, to be quite honest with you guys. Really ticked off about the changes that TradingView has made. It may not seem like something to most people, but for me, who relies on this day in and day out, and who can at times be a bit of a Luddite when it comes to changes in technology, it's negatively affecting the quality of my life. I'm not gonna lie, it is negatively affecting the quality of my life. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, to reduce it to its simplest element, to make what's going to be an extended, to make what is about to be an extended analysis of price action and trend and sentiment. It's very simple, man. Approaching resistance on high momentum, on high volume, higher time frame resistance is my put call. It's an opportunity to enter into a short, which is exactly what I've done. So average entry now for me, and again, just explaining why I was not able to take advantage of some of this other wackadoodle price action, which was pretty exciting, man. By the time I got to my desk was actually only about like 4 o'clock. So I'd already missed the area that I would have loved to be into position on Ethereum, where I would have been able to take a risk anyways. So I'm pretty happy with the average position that I've got because after the show, I'm going to go spend more time with my family. So does that mean, what that means is that I'm not going to be able to actively trade this on the 5-minute or the 15-minute time frame. I'm not going to be able to day trade this for this evening. So because of that, I'm going to have to say I don't have the time, patience, or energy at this point in the night to be able to actively trade this volatility, which I think, by the way, is largely drying up. I think that now the opportunity has come to enter into a positional position, if that makes sense. So there's a difference between a swing trade, a day trade, and a positional trade. So at this point in time, I am positionally trading. Some would argue and say that the correct term is swing trading. That's fine. You guys, everybody, different strokes for different folks. But at this point in time, I have established a positional short to the downside. Average entry of 4,114 was my average entry. I do expect price to move against me a little bit. I'm totally comfortable with that. And I have my stop loss for an hourly close above 42.28. I've set it a little tight. That's absolutely fine. In fact, that's congruent with, that's the reference BTC USD chart. So yeah, exact same thing here on the MEX chart. Average entry of 41.14. I do expect price to move against me. My stop loss is currently set at 42.28 for an hourly close. Now, again, I don't use hard stop losses, and that's just my personal preference. People would argue that that doesn't work out for me. Just over my experience and over my period of time, the fact that I am able to actively manage the charts. Now, if I go to bed, I will set a hard stop, or if I am away from my computer for an extended period of time. But for a positional trade like this, I will not be doing something like this. So, anyways, moving on. What do I really expect in the short term moving forward? I expect consolidation. I don't think that we V-bottomed directly down from here. High volatility, which today was an extremely high volatility day. High volatility precedes low volatility, which precedes high volatility. So I would expect to see consolidation at the top. I would expect to see a distribution pattern form, and I would expect to see a breakdown to the downside from that. Now, again, can price move further up? Of course it can. But that doesn't really matter to me. We're in the proximity of resistance, and so I will look to short from resistance. All right, so let's continue on. Let's continue on with the things that I wanted to talk about. So now we will go ahead and load up. Big Herbs indicator here, the BFXLS average and weighted volume average. So this is going to be taking a look at all long positions on Bitfinex weighted against their dollar value. And this is going to be a more accurate representation. This is going to be a more accurate representation of the actual dollar amount of Bitfinex long versus shorts. And the reason that we look at Bitfinex long versus shorts is because their ratios are different as comparative to BitMEX, for example, because on BitMEX, every long is equal to one short. So taking a look here at our BFXLS. Now, what I said yesterday was we were at the previous level of resistance, right? So we were already at 69% of the market being totally long. So 69% of the market is long. Now, for those of you who are familiar with sentiment analysis, we typically do a ratio of 60 to 40, right? So when a particular asset reaches 60% to the long side, we expect that to be unsustainable, and we expect the market to potentially form a local top. It's always helpful to use some other form of technical indicator or other method of price analysis to justify your position. Now, what have we seen here? So we do see that looking at as far back as this indicator reaches, we do see that this thing does top out at 75, 75, and 74. That means 75% of the market is net long. And that is a highly unsustainable level. Anything above 70% is unsustainable in an area where I no longer become, there's no way that I can become an interested buyer because the market moves toward liquidity. And to provide liquidity to the market, if the entire market is long, the market must naturally move down to liquidate those positions, provide liquidity to the market, or at least cause those positions to tap out, cause those positions to sell at a loss, or more appropriately, when we're looking at horizontal support and resistance, we have to calculate, okay, when do we see a significant increase in the number of longs? So at what price point did longs enter into a position? And if price goes below that level and then returns to that level, we can expect that level to act as significant resistance. Why? Because when you've been in a position, I'm sure that you guys can be very, very congruent with this. I'm sure this makes a lot of sense to you, because if you're an active trader and you're watching a show like this, I expect that you do have some experience with this. Whenever you enter into a position, and if you've been under, so when you enter into a position, you are you are accepting the fact that there is a potential that the trade will not go in your favor. And if the trade doesn't go in your favor, human beings naturally feel very uncomfortable emotionally. They feel very, very uncomfortable emotionally because nobody likes taking a loss. And there's some significant psychological reasons for that, but negativity bias, just in general, not wanting to lose something that you have, but it all remains the same. So you guys should be very familiar with the very profound psychological feeling that it is to be in an underwater position. When price returns to your entry, generally you are inclined to take profit or sell at break even, or a small loss or a slight profit if price goes into profit. And I'm sure that you guys are aware that one of the most common denominators out there, or one of the most common advices given in trading that is often underlooked, is take profit when you're in profit and cut a loss early. Cutting losses early and remembering to take profit and not to be too greedy are going to be the key elements that are going to be able to make you a profitable trader. It's not always, and there's many different approaches to trading, but I can only speak for myself, and based upon my broad knowledge in this market, is it's not always about catching the moons. There are traders that are not interested in swing trading. There are traders that only day trade. Now, many day traders are unsuccessful because they have problems with the psychology of being in an underwater position. They have difficulty with their strategy. That's often the biggest thing. And they often have a huge problem with risk management. So if you're going to be a day trader, keep in mind that you're going to be putting on anywhere from 5 to 10 positions per day. All right. And you do need to prime yourself. You need to watch the market for a while. And with cryptocurrency, this is quite nice because you can quickly identify whether a market is trending or whether a market is ranging. And then you have to observe it for a while. And what's nice about this is that you have a 24-hour market. So it's not like traditional equities where you do have to wait for the bell to ding and open up. So you can just review the price action from last night, watch it on fast forward, and identify based on that, okay, what is the range that the session is in? Where is our, what's our VPVR saying? What's VPVS saying? Where are our supports and resistances on the daily? What are likely areas where I would like to be long from? The lower areas of the session volume profile. The upper areas of the session volume profile is where I'd like to be taking profit. The mid-range, you don't really want to play. You don't really want to play no man's land. So, getting back to talking about the longs versus shorts, we now have the entire market about 72%, so 71.6%, and actually we can just see accurately what it is without having to try to guess. Open our data window here. 71.49% net long. The market is 71.49% net long. Based upon that, I cannot be an interested buyer. If the entire market is 71.49% net long, the market is going to move toward liquidity, and the market is going to move to liquidate those short positions. So exactly what you want to see for an optimum shorting entry. Nice blow off top, high volatility movement into resistance, the entire market just eating it up and taking on new positions. And again, look at social media indicators. Everybody is screaming for 9,000. Everybody's screaming for the reason I use 9,000 instead of 6,000, but everybody just screaming for higher price actions. People are telling you that you're stupid if you don't buy now. And I just don't see it, man. I don't think that we've had enough. I don't think that we've tapped into enough liquidity to be able to break to the upside. This seems to me a logical area where individuals who have been long would be looking to take their profits. It's a natural area to take profit, weekly level of resistance, and it's going to take some significance to break this level for me. Ideally, I'd like to see a daily open and close above this level to be entirely invalidated. But for me, I will, pursuant to my risk management strategy, I'll be willing to cut my losses short on an hourly close above 42.28. So, and that's totally fine. I accept my loss if price goes above 42.28, and I will gladly come in here and take flak for my position. Again, as a trader, I will be here to tell you that as somebody who does his best to come on the show and be as honest in my positions and be as honest in my analysis as humanly possible and just be transparent about what I do, I'm never going to tell you, and this is kind of why I started the channel and my big issue with other advice out there for beginning traders, is that people tell you that they never lose, that they're a master strategist. All I can tell you is that I'm profitable overall, and that's because I know when to cut a loss short. I know my strategy that I've been trading for a very long time that I've been able to compile into my indicator that I use in conjunction with price action analysis. Price action analysis is the most important thing. And it takes a while to understand and learn price action. I think the most probably lacking skill that individuals have is probably patience. You know, we see something like this. You know, you see something like this and you just want to run into it. And ideally, you know, in the grand scheme of things, this move doesn't matter. You know, this move didn't matter. This move doesn't matter. It only matters if you were able to profit from it in the eyes of a trader, in the lens of a trader. So what that means is that if you miss a movement, naturally, I think this, and I'm familiar with this because I remember what my inclination was when I was a beginner trader. Your natural inclination is to like curse yourself and I'm so stupid. I can't believe I didn't grab that. I didn't get in on that. I have to get in now. I'm going to miss the next run. And those are the famous last words before every trader gets liquidated. Like those are really the famous last words before everybody makes you know, a really stinky trade. You know, what you need to do is have patience, observe the range, observe the structure, identify what your strategy is telling you to do, and set yourself up for the next profitable trade. You can't, you know, it's too late. If you miss this long, or if, you know, for example, if you miss this long or this long or this long, or if you missed these shorts going to the back end, if you miss this short and you miss this short and you miss this short, that's okay. Guess what? There's going to be another one. There will always be another one. There's always going to be a high volatility movement up, down, and to the right. I promise you guys. So, no revenge trading, and definitely, again, you guys are free to do what you want. There is a possibility, again, I would not, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. So let's just continue on with our analysis. So again, just to reduce it to its simplest elements, rejection from resistance. If we go down to the 15-minute chart, kind of absolutely what I wanted to see here. Nice volume spike. What I would like to see is a nice blow off top now. We'll worry about that later. Okay, so let's go ahead and we've talked about longs versus shorts. We can go ahead and get rid of that now. We've talked about horizontal levels, key weekly levels of resistance. Again, weekly level of resistance that we are currently at right now, which is the resistance order block, 4096 on BitMEX. And okay, that's about it. Anything more on the daily that we want to talk about? We can throw on some other indicators here and see what they're talking about as well. Let's hide our drawing tools. Let's take a look at our EMAs. Take a look at our EMAs. Coming up to our 100 exponential moving average on BitMEX right here. So here's what I think, guys. When you see bullish signs like this, and this is kind of what I'm hearing everybody talk about, this is not like the personal way that I trade, for example, whatsoever. But that's absolutely fine. I just think that a lot of beginners are taught to trade this way. And again, I do know traders that look at moving averages crosses with significant and place a good level of import upon them. That's not necessarily the way that I approach the markets. I think that that's more hindsight trading. I think that if you do generally use moving average crosses, for example, you are not going to be entering at the opportune time in the market. I think that you are best. Focusing on price action. I think that you are best focusing on volume. I think that you are best focused on predictable patterns in the market, as well as adopting a strategy that tells you what you want to do. So the key things that stand out to me are this. I would place that 100 exponential period moving average as just more confluence into the weekly level of horizontal resistance that we've been talking about for quite some time. That level right there, time transformation being overbought for the first time in a while. Now, here's one thing though. Here is one thing. We have not yet seen classically on the daily a blow off top. We have not yet seen a blow off top. So I will leave that possibility out there. And that would probably stop me out of my position. But again, my stop loss is not static unless it happens when I'm sleeping, which is just, you know, that's one of the prices that you pay for being able to take profitable good setups. But the reason that I try to reduce that is by not using hard stops when I'm actively at my computer, which is pretty much all the time, except for on the weekends. So that's just layering into another level of confluence. So what would be the most absolute beautiful perfect scenario would be to see a massive wick on the daily, with unnatural volume. So as you can see, time transformation is not printing unnatural volume as it did here. But here's the thing. This right here is not a blow off top. The reason why is because it is a strong full candle body close out of consolidation. Full candle body close on unnatural volume or very high volume is a very bullish indicator. It is the first leg of an uptrend and generally posits that you will have continuation following a brief period of consolidation, which is exactly what you have. You have a very bullish candle, you have a little bit of sideways consolidation, you have another upthrust, you have some consolidation, and then you have an upthrust. So based on that alone, what do I actually expect to see here over the next few days? I expect to see consolidation. I expect to see consolidation. I expect to see a distribution pattern form, and I would expect to see that break to the downside. But it would not surprise me, honestly, in that distribution pattern to see a stop loss hunt to the upside, to see a grab for liquidity. Which on the daily time frame this candle may not represent, but I'd still have to look at it for, from my perspective, being just where I am in the market right now. Now, if you wanted to be more conservative, you would wait for the distribution pattern to form, and you would look to take the breakdown trade to the downside. Now, again, that's going to get you in at a worse entry because, for example, if we're looking at a pattern like this where we do have, let's get the EMAs off of there actually. So when you're looking for what is really a logical area to enter into a long, so you see consolidation to the downside, you see price contraction here, which we saw over the course of a week. You see a very bullish candle on high volume, as indicated by time transformation here, printing the yellow diamond. That's unnatural volume. You see consolidation. You would have gotten, if we go down to the 8-hour time frame, let's see. You would have gotten regular bullish divergence printed on time transformation, which is the time frame that I generally look at for longer term positional trading and entries. The 8-hour time frame right there. Again, after that nice, and the 8-hour time frame would have actually given you an even better entry because you have consolidation. You have a very strong a Marubozu candle, a full body candle close out of consolidation on a natural volume. Very, very, very reliable indication that price is going to continue in that direction. Alternatively, when you see something like, let's try to find a good example of it. 8-hour time frame is not throwing it up there for us, but when you see a candle like this, generally known as inverted hammer candles or evening stars, for example, although that's more of an inverted hammer and not quite an evening star. When you see a candle with a long wick in one direction with unnatural volume, that's generally indication of late stage buying. So let's say it's a candle like this, so it's at the top of an up movement, long wick to the upside, high volume, generally indication of late stage buying in a trend, in an established uptrend, meaning that everybody is trying to buy into what they think is going to be a continuing uptrend. This is retail piling in at the very worst, at the absolute worst moment to be buying when we're at the top of a movement. But that's what retail does. They all move as herd mentality. They provide liquidity to institutional order flow looking to exit their long positions and generally enter into short positions. And the liquidity that the retail buyers are providing absorbs the limit orders of institutional order flow. The market buys of retail traders absorb the limit orders to exit their positions or enter or flip to flip to the downside of institutional order flow. Or again, institutional order flow, kind of a catch-all term, just to refer to large volume that does actually move the market's liquidity. The reason they need to do that is because large orders cannot just market exit their positions because they'll incur some fairly significant slippage and they'll move the market, which is the definition of slippage. So anyways, that's kind of your volume cheat sheet. Candlestick and volume combined. Consolidation, period of consolidation, strong candle body close, Marubozu candle with high volume out of consolidation. Very strong indication that the price is going to continue on in that direction. When you've been in a movement for some time and you see a very long wick on high volume, generally an indication that price is going to move in the opposite direction. That is kind of the definition of a blow-off, a breakdown bottom and a blow-off top. So that is how you can identify with volume and candlestick analysis breakdowns and breakouts. And again, always waiting for low, at least for me, hourly candles at the very least. Ideally, at least a 3-hour candle to open and close to really confirm a breakdown or breakout. But again, you can just use that make sure that you're using that with volume as well. There needs to be volume in there, because that becomes it becomes an analysis of, is this going to be a trade worth taking? Because you can get a nice full candle body close out of consolidation. But if there's no volume behind it, you don't really expect price to continue moving that much higher, right? So there might be a long trade on the table based off of that. But when you're doing a risk benefit analysis, because remember, when you're buying into a breakout, you have an issue of risk management. Where do you set your stop loss? Because you do expect after a breakout to at least, generally, you want to prepare yourself for a slight pullback to retest the breakout zone. Doesn't always happen, and that's why generally a good method of entry is something like 50% on the candle body close of the time frame of your choice. Generally should be a lower time frame candle, hour to 3 hour candle. I know most individuals use hourly candles. High volume Marubozu candle, strong candle body close, not a big wick, so almost like just a full what you will see referred to as an unshaven candle, for example, or excuse me, a shaved candle. All people in Japanese candlestick analysis call it all different kinds of ways, but it is what it is. It's just a strong candle body close, just a full candle body, not a big wick, in the direction that you want to take the trade. You have an issue of risk management, because where do you set your stops? So we can look at this particular example, going back to Bitcoin's initial breakout. So we have consolidation, and we kind of see the exact same thing here. So what do we see? We see hammer candles, or for those of you who don't like using those nice fancy terms, the important thing is small candle body, very long wick to the downside in a period of consolidation, okay, on high volume. As indicated here by time transformation, high volume, generally a good indication that price is going to move in the opposite direction at some point. Now, as we can see here, price consolidates a little bit more, does move to the upside here, so would have positioned you just off this right here for probably a fairly unprofitable trade, but about a 0.5% trade right there, which again is your traditional equity market trade. Moving on. You do get regular bullish divergence here on the hourly chart, right at the candle where you should be exiting, as indicated by time transformation here. You get, actually, time transformation prints a buy signal right here on this candle, and then you see the exact same thing. You see another long wick to the downside here on this candle, with unnatural volume, an indication that price is likely to move in the opposite direction, which it does. But if you were waiting for confirmation, let's turn logarithmic off. If you were waiting for confirmation, you clearly have a very local, strong resistance area right here. Very strong resistance area right here. You do close an hourly candle above that level, but there's a bit of a wick. So you might have been very tentative upon that. Then you open and close a candle. That's generally a good indication that you can go. So if we do look at this on the 3 hour time frame, looking at this on the 3 hour time frame, we can actually see the break out of consolidation right here. The breakout of consolidation, so you have consolidation right here, and then on this 3 hour candle, you have a very strong full candle body close on a natural volume above local resistance at 33.75, as we talked about back at that period in time. As well as, again, on time transformation, accurately printed bullish divergence on this candle right here. So you would have had about 6 hours to get into the trade before you would have been using regular volume and candlestick analysis using time transformation. Anyways, okay. So that's a little bit of that. We've looked at longs versus shorts. We've looked at horizontal levels of support and resistance. We've talked a little bit about volume and candlestick analysis for identifying breakouts and breakdowns, as well as identifying, is this trade going to be worth my time? Let's look at some of the lower time frames and talk about what I actually expect to see for Bitcoin over the next few days. Go to time transformation and make sure that we're using the 8 hour chart for resolution for our Heikinashi trend. Still bullish Heikinashi trend, so we are trading against the trend, or at least I am. So I can't speak for, obviously I can't speak for everybody here, obviously. 8 hour time transformation is above the neutral zone right there. So again, the 8 hour is not in overbought conditions. In fact, we did get the sell signal right here for overbought conditions after the nice rally right here, which would have been an excellent taking profit. So this is a question that I get a lot. They're like, "Hey, Justin, well, what happens when?" And so, often it's very sarcastic because people tend to not have like a good. It's all good, guys. Trading's kind of one of those things like gaming or lifting weights. Again, never was, I played video games when I was a kid, but I used to lift weights a lot. And kind of that same meathead mentality sometimes with traders. They're like, well, bro, check it out, man. I just benched 450 and I saw you over there struggling with 315. You ain't shit, motherfucker. So, and I apologize for using that language, but trading's kind of similar, guys. So people are like, guess what, man? Guess what? I've been long since 3,100. Haven't taken profit yet. Cool, man. You neglected to mention that you were long at 6,000 though, and took a loss at 4,000. But I digress. Again, I don't want to. That's not the purpose of the show. I get asked to comment on other people's trading strategies and abilities. I don't find that like useful at all. I wake up, I look at the charts, I respect my analysis, I listen to what I'm supposed to do, and I stick to my guns. And then I share that information with my subscribers and with the members of the premium trading group. So. I find that if when I was maybe that's a story for another time. Anyways, time transformation accurately giving you very good buys. I mean, time transformation has been doing yeoman's work here on the 8-hour chart, guys. So I highly recommend, if you are ignoring the 8-hour chart in your analysis, I highly recommend that you go check that out. 8-hour time frame, very powerful. So when you are trading against the dominant trend and you get a counter trend signal, there's a couple options that you have. Generally, for me, I like to take profit when I get counter trend signals in a strong uptrend, for example. So in a strong uptrend, when I get a bearish, like overbought sell signal, I'll do, again, I have to weight against price action and kind of what's going on in the markets as well. Where I think that everything is, looking at longs and shorts, looking at open interest, looking at things of that nature, looking at the MDR, all valuable data metrics. But again, it can all go back to the long terms as well, BLX index and the total crypto market cap as well. So when you get a counter trend signal in a strong uptrend and the trend hasn't switched, you can either take profit on the way up and then exit your position when the trend does switch. And for me, the trend switches when the daily Heikin-Ashi or the 8-hour Heikin-Ashi, for example, goes bearish. The 8-hour Heikin-Ashi is going to get you in and out of trends much quicker. The daily is going to be much more powerful. Again, as always, the rhetoric that the higher the time frame that you're looking at, the more powerful the signal is going to be, but the more it's going to lag as well. And this is why trend trading using just the hourly chart for your entries and exits is often not going to give you the best entry, for example. Okay, so 8-hour analysis, I would expect to see some sideways consolidation after a nice down thrust. So 3-hour time frame as well. Let's go to the 3-hour time frame. Still a hold on a second. Okay, cool. So still a bullish trend. Still a bullish trend. Let's see here. 3-hour unnatural volume on this candle right here, which I don't think is going to be, again, as I said, a harbinger of continued up movement. So there are some times when you do have to take the higher time frame levels of resistance into account, which is that's just where we're at, guys. So sticking to my guns, sitting in my short position, and we'll see how that plays out. There were a couple other things that I wanted to talk about here. So let's go to the daily. We looked at the EMAs, and we looked at, I don't think that Ichimoku is actually going to give us any actionable information. Yeah, so actually kind of the same thing. So breaking inside the Ichimoku cloud since February 18th right here. And then we had that little bit of upside consolidation. Typically when you do break inside the cloud, you do expect to edge trade. And as you can actually see, we do actually have. All right, that took a while. If I think I have it layered out here over on the tether chart. Have it layered out over here on the tether chart. 24-hour time frame. Let's zoom this down just a little bit and throw in Ichimoku. And yes, we can see. Yeah. So typically when you break inside of the cloud, you do expect to edge trade, which would actually, if that is true, would supposedly move us up to 54.40. Similarly, on the daily time frame, we're getting a bullish TK cross on Tether and, of course, on futures as well. But very similar to what we're talking about with our exponential moving averages, we're about to get that 21 crossing over the 55 as well. I have to take all that with a grain of salt because I know that that's what everybody else is looking at. I know that's what everybody else is basing their trades off of. And seeing as how I've been looking at this entire time, and I've been very consistent in what I've said, guys. I said, hey, guys, if you guys recall, if you guys have been watching the show for a while, we went long at 3,200. We went long at 3,200. We actually took during this period in time, we actually took like 4 trades, but we took a positional from 3,200, and when we came up to weekly resistance, as I talked about, weekly time frame analysis, looking at the bullish, weekly equilibrium block, which is going to act as resistance. I mean, this is an area when we have a dominant downtrend, and then the market puts in a little bit of resistance. A little bit of shift in market structure for a whole week, big Darth Maul candle, wick to the upside, wick to the downside. That is an area where the bulls sensed weakness in the bears, and it is a likely area where they're going to retest, but it still has to be resistance. It still has to be viewed as resistance until you're actually able to break above that level. So we'll see. So I would expect to see the most likely thing, again, just to hammer this home, guys. I would expect to see after a nice run like that, low volatility consolidation, and then you can wait. I mean, that's really the safest move. You can wait for the break up or the breakdown out of consolidation. And again, I talked about how to identify that as well. 3-hour time frame, 1-hour time frame, strong candle body close on high volume. Generally, a good confirmation that the market is going to move and continue moving in that direction. Not waiting for confirmation and buying price when, I know people that like watch the 15-minute chart. People watch the 15-minute chart, for example, and or like the 5-minute chart. At some point in time, guys, this is what I want to talk about this with. I want to talk about this with support and resistance and waiting for confirmation. So you're looking at this level right here, for example. Like say you're trying to take Ethereum long. Bitcoin long, and actually let's go look at the MEX chart because it's going to give us a better example of what we're talking about here. Let's go down to the 15-minute time frame and talk about a common mistake that traders make. So, okay, so you have this kind of example where you would have gotten faked out trying to take the long to the upside. But again, even on the 15-minute time frame, there's no unnatural volume. So very unlikely to continue moving in that direction. There needs to be volume for the price to continue moving on in that direction. But if you look at something like this, for example, so say you're watching the 15-minute time frame and you're saying, all right, well, this is the 20 range high. And if price goes above the 20 range high, I'm going to go long. Because this is representing a clear break of resistance, for example, however you might be looking at this and thinking to yourself, it would have been wrong. But you have to remember at some point, this wick, regardless of what time frame you're watching, at some point, this wick was not a wick. When this was actually happening in the market and you're actively watching this, this was a full candle. And so you're thinking to yourself, all right, oh man, look at that. Price is trading above resistance. It's trading above the 20 range high. I've read Investopedia and I know I should go long right now. Well, if you would have just waited for the 15-minute candle to close, you would have realized how terribly wrong you could be because dojis, whether they're spinning tops, long-legged dojis, hammers, dragonflies, doesn't matter. Whenever you see a long wick at the local top of any movement, you do not want to be continuing to go on in that direction generally. Okay. So that's about it, guys. That's about all I got for Bitcoin. If we go over to Ethereum, it's going to be the exact same thing, different numbers. The exact same story, different numbers. But we will entertain it. So let's actually go pull open our schedule and consider Bitcoin done. All right. Hit that schedule here a little bit. And before I get into Ethereum, actually, let's take a brief pause for the cause here, gentlemen and ladies. The two of you watching the stream. Excuse me. All right. Go interact with the chat for a little bit, guys. Hopefully, again, I hope you guys are doing very fantastic on this lovely, lovely Saturday evening. I went outside my house. I have icicles that stretch down to the ground. Yes, Fantastic. From the roof. From the roof down. Rotors are Russ. FPV says holding until I retire, man. Hopefully next year. Thank you, Blockchain Cheeseburger. I appreciate that, man. Good to see you, Truce. Thanks for joining, man. All right. Bitcoin going to 1K tomorrow. Easy clap. We got people saying next weekend Bitcoin to 5,000. We got people saying next weekend Bitcoin to 2.5 to 1,000. Who knew says you need to sell Ethereum before the 28th. Constantinople rolls out then. A drop comes on Ethereum. It's normal. It's normal with a hard fork and soft. All right. Greg Meyer says how to take profit. I am a greedy bastard. Well, you just if you have previously hit the green button, you just hit the red button. When here's kind of a good rule of thumb. A good rule of thumb is this: is if you're in a trade, if you're in a position, and so this is I'm going to say stuff to contradict this, but let's just go with the first one first. This is probably going to suit you better. This might work. This is what I was told when I was starting out trading. So we'll see how well it's aged because now I have a little bit more nuance around it. When you first start out trading, when I first began trading, I was told that, look, man, if you're in good profit and you're looking at the charts and you're thinking to yourself, should I take profit? The answer is almost always yes. The answer is almost always yes because I've heard the saying goes, nobody ever went broke taking profit. I believe in that. I've heard some really crazy stuff that's like, no, people do go broke taking profit, and that's how you exit trades too early. That's all well and good. It depends on your personal strategy. So if you want to be a trend trader, if you only want to trade strong trends, first you have to identify the volatility, the volume, how likely is this trend likely to go, because that's the thing. Traditional trend trading is going to be profitable when you do catch a big trend, but that involves a lot of deeper analysis. That involves sector analysis. That involves like, okay, how strongly is the market trending? What is the historical, repeatability of this? I do want to pay attention now on the lower time frames to the daily candle close. So we've got about 2 minutes till the daily candle closes, and I'm going to be watching the tether chart. For Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm going to see which way they want to try and paint the next daily candle. Okay. Okay, so so a little bit more nuance on that is if you are trend trading or whatever strategy that you have, just have clearly well-defined exit strategies. Again, successful trading is if this then that. It's if this then that. There we go. Feeling they're going to paint it bearish. Yep. They're going to paint it bearish. Which doesn't surprise me. Which doesn't surprise me for a Sunday. About to have 1 minute in the books here in about 10 seconds. 1 minute in the books for Sunday's chart. Ooh. That's funny. That's funny. They did paint it bearish. All right, anyway, so the other is, yeah, okay, so just to devolve on that, sorry, sometimes I lose my train of thought. If this, then that strategy, man. If this, then that strategy. There is something to be said for actively managing your positions. But statistically over time, if you just have a profitable strategy and you have your stop losses and take profits where they should be, and then you just hit the button, man, I believe that you'll do better. BitConnect. Azrael, hey, sorry, man, if I missed your question, dude. He said, wow, 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 can you show me where that indicator is? And then he said, which one? So I don't know which indicator exactly you're referring to. I think you might be talking about the Bitfinex total longs and shorts altcoins aggregate. I think if you just type in Bitfinex total, yeah, if you just type in Bitfinex total and then to the indicator window, it's right here by Big Herb. Proof of weak hands 3D. Beep bop. I am a bot. I have no legs. Says, bro, my long is long term. I close at 20K. I need that Lambo. Ha! We got some requests for Litecoin, so we will. I'll throw Litecoin up on the chart, man. Oh, we'll throw Litecoin up on the chart. It's getting to be about 6 o'clock, so I'm gonna have to start running through these. So again, with Ethereum, my Lambo will be running. All right. Peter Piper says, Justin, where are you getting that longs versus shorts data from? One good reference is Tensor Charts. Tensor Charts has good, well, yeah, Tensor Charts is going to be a little bit different, but Tensor Charts does have good stats. This is better for looking at liquidations, for example, though. Tensor Charts. Get this baby opened up. Reason my computer is lagging like I'll get out. Be gone with you. Go away. Go away. I'm where I want to be. Anyways. Let's see here. So yeah. Another reason that I was if we go back and look at the, let's see if we can, sorry. Yep. So looking at the daily too, you know, there's a strong argument to be had that we need to liquidate more shorts. But I think, you know, all the late stage ones that piled in, they might be gone. Anyways, Datamish is really good. Data.bitcoinity.org is good. Looking at the bid-ask sum on Max, for example, is really good to see sentiment. CoinFarm. CoinFarm is one of the best. CoinFarm is great for looking at BitMax longs versus shorts. You can see the aggression, the number of markets, the number of market longs and shorts being put on, which represents the aggression of the market. So yeah, just about sure I get these timestamps right. So just about 3 minutes ago, we had 3 million to the short side, market short. You can also look at the significant trades ticker. I think I have it on. Yeah, AM feed's good. Agritrade, significant trades is kind of a classic. Agritrade is a little bit better. aggr.trade/pound. This is, I used to have this open all the time. But this will show you your significant trades ticker. And then the other thing that I had on my chart, which is the trading view script, is going to be that longs versus shorts. So BFXLX is the one by M59. If you type in BFXLS, yeah, BFXLS, not there by M50. FX. So just Bitfinex. Bitfinex longs, you should see M59's indicator right there, which is absolutely fantastic. Bitfinex longs versus shorts. Or that Bitfinex total by Big Herb. Really good as well. If you want to look at the whole cap, look at the whole cap. What do I think about Elliott wave theory? It is a great way to lose money, but a really good way to get people to think that you're intelligent on Twitter. Just my personal preference, man. I know that a lot of people, when they come into crypto, and I just saw it happen all last year, man, really get kind of like, man, Elliott wave is where it is, dude. Like, you can tell where the market's going to go. It generally only works in hindsight. So anything, and here's the problem with Elliott wave theory, man. And I hear people argue against me, but the fact remains is, like, as somebody who's been doing this for a while, I have not met anybody who's like, oh, what's up, man? You've been trading for like 5-10 years. Cool, dude. Yeah, awesome. Like, what's your strategy? Oh, I have buy call signals based on overbought, oversold conditions, as well as price action. If price is printing a certain candle, my exit strategy is to ladder out of my exits at multiples of ATR or at the first indication of an overbought signal, etc., or something like that, right? Or hey, I buy when the 21 exponential moving average crosses the 55, and and I take a profit when I see a big wick, whatever, anything that makes sense to me, right? All those seem like logical, like profit taking metrics, right? But I've never yet had a conversation with somebody that says, yeah, man, you've been trading for a while? Yeah. Okay, cool. Making a living at it. Yep. What do you use? Elliott waves? I've never heard that. And every time I have heard it, they actually were not making money. So I don't want to paint the whole theory as like crap, because I do think that it has general good purpose for analysis, right? For analysis, which is what I'm doing on the show. So determining, like, overall, where is price likely to go, here, there, up, down, left, right, a little bit. Yeah, okay, maybe it has some statistical significance. I think that you're going to have better success. Looking at something like Dow theory, or looking at something like Wyckoff accumulation and distribution. Understanding I base a lot of my understanding off Wyckoff accumulation and distribution. Markup, distribution, markdown, accumulation, reaccumulation. Looking for things like springs, which now it's very popular, I guess, to understand concepts like stop loss hunts and liquidity hunts. Which, again, people weren't really talking about that a while ago, especially in cryptocurrency. Thank you so much, Edward Park. I appreciate that. Yeah, so 3,000 subscribers, by the way. I do want to give a big thank you, guys, To everybody that's been really helping the YouTube channel grow, right? And as well as all the followers on Twitch. You guys are fantastic. Thank you to everybody who's been coming by the Discord. We just threw a whole lot of new features in there, guys. We got the alpha bot in there so it can do charts. We've had alt pocket in there for a while. We've got automatic notifications when there's airdrops, when there's new listings on an exchange. We've got a volume scanner in there. We've got a bot that scans volume. We post free trade signals for individuals that want to follow along with kind of a taste of what goes down in the trading group. And we have a good time in there, guys. Make sure you guys go check that out if you guys are not in there. John Pond says, I'm not going to buy a Lambo. I'm going to buy an orphanage or something similar instead. Much cooler. I would buy an orphanage if there was somebody like L from Death Note in there. I would do that, man. But that's noble, man. Thank you. Okay, a lot of comments, man. So I just got to scroll down to the bottom, man. Sorry. Okay, Zuhair Nakvi, I apologize. I missed your super chat, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donation, my good friend. He asks, shorted 41.58, where to look for if we're positioning to test the weekly 21 exponential. Shorted 41.58. Shorted 41.58. Well, I mean, then you're sitting along with me, but with a better entry. So I'll give you guys. I'll show you my. If you shorted 41.58, you are a beast. Although I'll tell you what, I would have been looking to get in here had I been in front of my computer, but I wasn't, so I had to enter into this consolidation period. So I'm aggressive, so whatever. And again, I fully expect price to move against me a little bit, but I'll show you my setup, man. I will show you my setup. So likely areas to take profit are obviously previous levels of resistance of consolidation. So you've got an area from 39.30 to 39.60. You have 37.80. You also have 36.50. Those would be your initial take profit targets. Again, if we break, again, to me, if we open and close a daily below 36.50, then we're going down to 3,100. But based off, you could assume that that's where we'd be there. You can assume that that's where we would be going anyways. Based off the longs to shorts ratios, because they've got to get liquidated, I think. I really do think they need to be liquidated. The market is going to move toward liquidity. Weekly 21 exponential moving average. Well, if we do test, if we do retest the weekly 21 exponential moving average, that's going to be bringing us in proximity to the first trouble area that I talked about in the long-term analysis of Bitcoin. The long-term weekly resistance level coming in right around 46.24. It kind of actually stretches up to 51.50, but that's a sticky area where the market's likely to get sticky and run into resistance. And you do actually have that weekly 21 coming around 44.75. Actually sitting at 44.90. So potential, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that weekly resistance is going to be weekly resistance. And if I'm wrong, that's the price that I pay for taking a profitable position. All right. Thank you so much for the donation, man. Yeah, it's discord.cracking.cryptocurrency.com, man. You guys can easily there. There. Redbeard says, in the options menu, you can change this and make a check at don't overlap price tags or something. Yeah, I've tried that. And I'm just, the level of profundity of which I'm upset with how TradingView has just gummied up their scaling, I cannot express more likely. Elysian says, have you seen BTC LTC? I'm all in. We'll take a look, man. All right, let's go back. Let's go take a look at some charting, guys. 6:15. 6:15, guys. So give me 1 minute. I'm going to go grab some more water. When I come back, I think we're going to go ahead and skip Ethereum because it's basically the same song, different verse that I'm looking at with that I'm looking at with Bitcoin. If you guys recall, again, and I had posted that that ETH/USD long that I wasn't able to take advantage of anyways, because of my situation. Now, ETH is a tiny bit different. We have hit my secondary upside target that I talked about here previously. I mean, just wicked right into it, guys. I don't add these lines to the chart, guys. Go back and watch yesterday's video. That level was right there, man. So 159, which did represent previous daily resistance. Now looking at the weekly time frame, we do have our first critical resistance coming at us at 167.32. So it's difficult for me to be an interested buyer. Again, just as I was talking about with Bitcoin, a thrust up would not surprise me to see a fairly high volatility wick. But again, on the daily time on the daily time frame, Ethereum is now overbought. It has not been overbought on time transformation since back here in these two levels right here, back since the beginning of January. So I do have to assume that after a run like this, we get sideways consolidation and a break to the downside. Even if we already continue higher, I think that a lot of the individuals that are going long right now, they're going to need to be liquidated. So right now, I'm short on the entire market, pretty much short on the entire market. If we pull back, consolidate at a level of previous resistance and find support and begin moving upwards, then I could potentially tentatively look to enter into a long, guys. But again, you need to go with what the market tells you guys. So those are the critical levels. The first level of pullback that I see for Ethereum is going to be 148.30, followed by 140 and 126.95. Getting down below 126.95, more conservative would be 119.32. Then we're going back to $80. We're going back to $80. And again, based on the longs to shorts ratios, that should, in my opinion, that is my bias right now. Hey, no problem to you, Rebel Owner. No, there are no stupid questions, man. We're always happy to help. I know that sometimes I'm a little bit lazy. I'm bad sometimes at watching the charts. So, guys, give me like 1 minute. I'm gonna go grab some water. We're gonna look at IOP for Eli. We're gonna look at IOP for you first, man, and then we'll look at Litecoin. And hopefully we'll be able to talk about some other funny stuff, guys. And Kolia. The way that I got those levels 40.88 to 41.61, the weekly time frame, that is the candle body of the weekly equilibrium block. Weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, that is the candle bodies, that is the candle, that is the true range of the, not the true range, the absolute range of the candle that formed resistance, where you had a shift in market structure. All right, guys, I'll be back in 30 seconds, man. Don't go anywhere. By the way, as I'm going on break, as always, guys, make sure to hit those like buttons if you're enjoying the content, guys. Give us a sub if you haven't already, guys. We still have the X42 giveaway going on, so while you're waiting for me to come back, check out x42.krakencryptocurrency.com. Make sure you guys get an opportunity to get 5 master nodes worth of X42, which we are going to give away to 5 lucky competitors, guys. And that's about it, guys. I'll be right back. I find the button. There we go. All right, all right, all right. Cool. Back. Thank you guys for being patient and for hanging in there, guys. I highly appreciate it. I'll answer that question real quick. Redbeard says, I'm still learning to read the market, but I can't decide if I should use RSI, stochastic, Stoch RSI, or MACD. What are you using? And could you explain why? Thank you. So I am using, I don't use any of those. I think of those, the best one is going to be the stochastic. I don't like the stochastic RSI. I know that some people like it. I don't, personally. I would actually recommend using the Fisher transform. That's what I've based time transformation off of. I've taken the underlying Fisher transform algorithm and transformed it to incorporate other elements of the market that I think, as well as tweak the underlying algorithm for better results. But in their own rights, MACD is a good indicator. Stochastic is a good indicator. The only what makes them good or bad is how you can apply them to your trading strategy and a strategy that works for you. So we're going to go over here and we're going to take a look at IOP BTC. Whoa, 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 whoa. IOP BTC. Gotcha, Eli. Whoa, excuse me. First burp of the night. Woo! All right. I'm going to merge all scales to the right. I am starving. Not going to lie. So let's just talk briefly about what altcoins are likely to do. The minors and the medium terms, so the medium caps and the minor caps, the low sat coins, all that stuff's probably going to take a big hit. It's going to take a big hit after Bitcoin's on its run. As soon as we get some sideways consolidation, altcoins are likely to see a bit of a run. So you're kind of looking, again, you have to do your own analysis on each individual chart for each coin that you're looking at, because you do have to approach each differently. But when you're just doing general like sector analysis, for example, again, money flows from the big caps, from the majors, to the larger caps. So money flows from Bitcoin and Ethereum. Price moves sideways. Money flows into the large caps. So your Tron, your Ripple, your Litecoin, your Stellar Lumens. So just your top 10, your top 20 on CoinMarketCap, for example, market cap by volume. And then it flows into your medium term coins. So you've got your Komodos, you've got your too many coins. That's why I've got my mediums. Your waves, your VeChain, Ontology, Doge, Bitcoin Gold, Quantum, OMI's Go, HOT, BAT, Decred, Link, Rep, so Augur, Zilliqua, 0x, Lisk, BCN, BTS, BitShares, Nano, Bitcoin Diamond, for example. So I update this. These are really the only things that I'm interested in looking at. As you can see, I do have my, if you guys can see, I have my watch lists here. So pretty much, I mostly trade tether pairs when I'm on Binance. So I trade on Binance and BitMEX. I pretty much only trade USDT pairs. Have only been really trading USDT pairs for quite a while. I do put out calls for Bitcoin pairings, but generally, personally, I generally am only interested in taking USDT pairs because of how I can manage my risk again in a bear market. Mostly preferring to sit in fiat for the most part. Then I've got my medium cap, so that's kind of the flow that I look into. And then generally I don't like to take low cap coins, but because liquidity becomes an issue. But there are times when I will. So that's kind of the progression. So from Bitcoin and Ethereum into the majors, into the mediums, and into the low sats. Right? It's just a nice cyclical wave. Right? It's a nice market cycle. It's a repeatable, identifiable pattern. 99-cent chicken nuggets, McDonald's Sunday. Oh, man. Strong Hand Squad checking in. What's going on, Web Dev Newbie? Good to see you, man. Zuhair Nakvi says, getting wrecked on Beam and Grin. Yeah, those were not good ones. Chainlink's a very good day trading coin, man. I've been trading, we have been doing Link USDT. But all things in their time. All right, so IOP, man. Okay, so again, just to be realistic here, man. Still longer time analysis, man. Doesn't look great, dude. Just, lower lows, lower highs, like I talked about, in a period of consolidation. So generally, when we do get consolidation, we do see this thing put out some nice moon candles for a while. As you can see, we have extreme downward consolidation. Then we kind of V-bottom up from that, move down into more symmetrical, or excuse me, kind of falling wedge style consolidation. Break to the upside, falling wedge consolidation again, and then that strong break on high volume to the downside. Again, kind of the same thing that we were talking about. When we're looking for which direction are things likely to move, a strong full candle body close, generally on high volume out of consolidation, is going to be a strong indication that price is going to continue moving on in that direction. So we've been talking about IOP for a while, man. So time transformation on the daily gave you the sell signal right here, right at the top. Very nice. Now, time transformation did go ahead and throw in a buy right here. Time transformation threw in a buy right here. Would not have protected you. You probably would have gotten wrecked from the stop loss hunt right here. But then right here, we do have regular bullish divergence right here on this candle right here. So we have a lower low in price action because, again, time transformation is calculated on the close. Again, I experimented with the open high, low close, HL2, OHLC3, all that stuff. Excuse me, OHC3. We had an invader. Hey, great question, Redbeard. All subscribers to the group have access to the time transformation indicator as well as Quadrigo ATR, CC EMA. Got other indicators that I've written in there too, and multiple ones that I'm working on right now. But I took a break. It took me a long time to get this all perfected the way that I wanted it to. So after a big task like that, man, probably gonna take a month off from writing new indicators. But I have other strategies and everything. Again, I'm kind of a newcomer to Pine, so learning all the nuances of their syntax, which is god awful, honestly, has been a chore. But it's fun. It's fun. I really enjoy it. Okay, so IOP, man, 24-hour time frame analysis, guys. Listen, we put in some regular bullish divergence here, got a nice reaction from the top. We are at daily local resistance, so candle body closing resistance right here, coming in at 31.68. Let's see, what are the... Take a second to pop up right here. There we go. Okay, so I believe the last time that we spoke, price was right here. So wasn't that, I believe, the last thing that I said? Again, I'd have to rewind, but just looking at this, I'd have to rewatch the old shows, but just looking at this, it seems like, obviously, we have plotted the long-term resistance trend line right here, the strong long-term resistance trend line. Price pokes its head briefly above right here, really before the nice little collapse right here. But time transformation tells you, hey, this is a fake. This is a fake. And again, kind of that same thing that I'm talking about, guys. When you have price in an uptrend, and then you put in a very long wick on unnatural volume right here, time transformation prints a yellow diamond. Strong wick to the upside after an established uptrend, price is most likely going to move to the downside. And on the very next candle, it does actually give you the sell signal right there. So I think we had talked about these as potential upside targets, right? You were talking about pump and dump, I think was the last time we talked. You said you were worried. You said you were worried the price is going to pump. Now, a couple positive things that we can talk about right here. Again, just the fact that the entire kind of market is probably going to rally because the money is going to flow into the medium caps and the low caps. So you do have an opportunity for price appreciation here, I do think. But just looking at this right now, again, still not something that I would really want to trade, man. Just overall, still the chart looks like crap. But again, I'll do my best. With what I've got. Currently printing a bullish day right now. Go to... Okay. Currently printing a bullish day in price action. Heikin-Ashi trend is still bearish. The trend just caught up, so we will switch that over to the 8-hour because I do like to look at the 8-hour trend. So still, yeah, bearish 8-hour trend as well, even though price action is rallying a little bit. You're going to really be able to tell if you get rejection here from 30.48, which is kind of the low of this candle. Obviously, also roughly a 50% retracement of the candle itself, of the previous bearish candle. If you get rejected from the 50% retracement and kind of from the lows, so in this range, I'd say of 30 to 60, doesn't look good. But the other positive thing is we had talked about this upper price target of $29.95, I do believe. Because cyan lines represent take profit targets. That is how I do my charting. Actually change those over. So now this is support. As you can see, we have daily resistance right here. You have a break above, you have support, you break down below, way below, and then you consolidate around that level, acts as resistance, suppressing price, and then you do break to the upside. You get resistance right here. You get resistance right here from your upper levels, from your breakdown zone. So from previous support, current resistance. All right. So this is your resistance zone coming in at 31.65. The daily opening and closing above that, I think you're going to go to 32.48. I don't see anything holding you back from 32.48. Above that, 38.43. Those are your upper moonshot targets, I would say. I don't necessarily see anything on here besides a daily SR flip that would make me want to be an interested buyer. Besides the fact that, again, you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, you know, price is really low, price is putting in consolidation. We've already had a stop loss hunt to the downside, so that is a positive thing as well. Just as I was talking about, you have a strong wick to the downside. Time transformation prints unnatural volume, and price is likely to move in the other direction. You don't have confirmation of a breakout yet. So a breakout would be a nice candle closing on strong volume out of this consolidation area that's being suppressed by the previous breakdown zone right here. So you see you had initially support at 31.65. You can see you had support at 31.65 for this previous level of consolidation. You broke down from that zone. Now that zone is acting as resistance. You do need to get back above 31.65 if you're going to be excited about these upward price targets. And I'd say in the short term, if you do get rejection from the low of the previous candle, the low of the previous high, and roughly the 50% retracement mark of this bearish candle, doesn't look good. But this is now your governing factor. Your governing horizontal now is 29.95 and 31.65. And in between then, you have to use lower time frames to trade that range. So getting a nice bullish reaction off what should be acting as support right now on the daily time frame. And that's where you're at, man. Getting back down below. There's a couple ways to look at this. Getting back down below, opening and closing below 29.95. Doesn't look good. You probably want to cut your losses. Opening and closing below the resistance trend, the supportive trend line, does not look good either, because then you're getting back down into just the bear territory that price has been in all the while. Now, again, when price kind of shuffles out of a trend line, when price kind of shuffles out sideways for a little bit, it shuffles. You do get a lower time frame reaction off this. And again, this is a low sat coin, so we're talking about a 15% pump. But I don't know, man. Tentatively optimistic. Doesn't look like anything I'd want to trade. Really, I wouldn't be an interested buyer on the short term until above 31.65. And then you can manage risk by setting your stop loss somewhere around 8-hour candle close below 31.21. You take 34.28, 38.43, and then you have to reevaluate them, because then you're coming up to range highs. You're coming up to range highs at that level. But yeah, man. We'll see what happens. Again, where I'd have my eye on right now if I was trading this asset is, does price respect 29.95 as support? Do we open and close a candle below 29.95? Doesn't look good. And then your current governing resistance is 31.65. Higher time frame analysis. Invader. Let's see here. Cigar Mantha Online TV. That's a lot, man. Says, how can I set an indicator? Which indicator is best, and what is a good timing period for day trading? Again, I like the Fisher Transform. I think the Fisher Transform is a fantastic indicator. That's what I've been using for a very long time now, and I've compiled that into time transformation. But when you're talking about momentum indicators or oscillators, for example, I mean, there's 1,000, man. Again, I would recommend, if I was just giving kind of the advice that I give to everybody, is start looking at Heiken Ashi for trend trading. Look at Renko is another very good trading strategy as well. Exponential moving averages do work very well. Ichimoku works very well. Volume profile. These are all helpful things, but they're only helpful insofar as they can help you make decisions. The biggest problem is that you start throwing on a lot of indicators onto your chart, and you get analysis paralysis because they're all going to say different things. You know, there are ways that you can make your indicators work for you. But you just got to spend the time developing the strategy, backtesting your strategy, and developing something that's going to work for you on your schedule, on your time frame, and that gives you if this then that strategy, man. If this then that happens. If this happens, then I do this. If this happens, then I do this. So, you know, if, for example, if the 8-hour time transformation gives me a buy signal, and price action looks good, the higher time frames look good, we're close to higher time frame levels of support, then I'll generally take the trade, if this then that. If I get a higher time frame sell signal, and I look and we're close to resistance, and we've had a recent volume spike, then I'll generally take the trade. You need volume and liquidity to make the trade worthwhile. Smart Crypto Bot says I'm buying a 1984 Honda CRX. Hell yeah, dude. What is stop loss? That is a level where you are going to take a loss so that you don't take a larger loss. I am from America. Kolya says, hey, Justin, the weekly equilibrium block at Binance fits in the middle of my weekly equilibrium block and daily equilibrium block on BitMEX. Which one to follow? I realize that it is a zone, but it's a wide area. So again, we'll just go back to my chart and I'll talk about mine. So I'm talking about the areas that are important to me are going to be the actual candle bodies and closes. So as you can see, I would not rule out a big wick to the upside, but again, I would stop my losses at 42.28. If we get an hourly candle opening and closing above 42.28, I'll realize that I've been wrong about my particular trade, and then I'll wait for a pullback and potentially look to go long, because that would represent a pretty significant change in market structure if we are able to open and close a daily candle above 40.90. Excuse me, what's the level on Tether? Above 41.61. So yeah, this is a huge range, man. You're talking about a 7% range. So I would recommend watching something like BTC USDT for direction, because it's often going to move much more clearly than BitMEX. And then you just take your trade on BitMEX. But again, you establish the same lines and levels as well. And I realize that I got a lot on the chart now, but that's because I'm actively trading. But yeah, generally you always want to go with your spot analysis, because spot is going to move futures. But you have to look at your levels and your entries and exits on MEX as well. But when you're looking for market direction, Tether, because it's not able to be manipulated by, and the order book's better on Tether too. The order book is more reliable if you're doing order flow trading. The reason why is because, you know, an 18-year-old or 13-year-old kid can't manipulate the books if he's got 10 grand by putting on a $100,000 position. Hey, what's going on, Mal? Good to see you, bro. You missed it all, man. Awesome, dude. I'd love to see Nepal, dude. That's awesome, man. Cryptmix says, and yes, we do need to look at Litecoin. Cryptmix says, hey, great stream. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Interested to know what you think of the relatively poor performance of ZERP compared to proof of work coins in recent weeks. You know, we've done some long-term analysis of ZERP, man. I don't think a lot has changed. I would be inclined to say that. So let's look at the majors. I'm just going to glance at this real quick. Yeah, actually, that's interesting. So it popped off because I was looking at ZERP and I kind of wanted to go long on ZERP, and we do see that it is getting a nice bullish reaction from the rest of the market. Overall, still fairly bearish on it because, again, we've seen this kind of pumping behavior from ZERP before. I got a lot of flack for not being bullish at the recent local high, but whatever. Yeah, man, there's nothing here that really indicates that this is going to be more of the same. We do see kind of that clear indication right here that price is potentially going to make We do get the 8-hour buy signal right here on time transformation, as you can see, yellow triangle printed. It was such a low range. Yep, there you can see the buy signal right there printed in the candle. And then we put in that nice wick, that nice little stop loss hunt right here. So again, long wick, generally price is going to move in the opposite direction. So at this point in time, I'd consider that my opportunity's probably been lost on ZERP. I was actually, just right before the show, I was looking at ZERP H19 and thinking about opening up a long position, just because I saw that, just based off simple analysis, the market's down, we're very oversold. Overall, I'm still bearish, but looking for price reaction, I would expect the rest of the market to rally. And since Litecoin is already up, like just skyrocketing, mooning, and ZERP's put in pretty much no bullish reaction, it doesn't surprise me that we're getting a nice bullish reaction here from ZERP here. It's just an underperformer. So you do look for underperformers to do well when their time comes. So yeah, very good, nice bullish reaction here from ZERP. I do see current resistance coming around at 85.50 on spot price. All right, so let's look at Litecoin. So LTC, BTC, weekly time frame. Yeah, kind of the same thing, man. Weekly level of resistance that we're coming up on right now. I'm kind of forming this nice. If you were so minded, you would say, man, we're gonna form a cup and handle. Well, if we were to form a cup and handle, which keep in mind, guys, I do not do cup and handle patterns, but let's look at the big ones. If we were gonna form a cup and handle pattern, I don't know why that. Oh, interesting. So I guess I need to make template. Yeah, you see that, Mal. You see it, bro. So that should be ICT. Interesting. So apparently changed. Huh. Okay, well, that's weird. But anyways, if we were going to form a cup and handle, typically cup and handle strategy, and again, I don't trade cup and handles, but you would look to be an interested buyer between 236 and 382, so 107 to 116. You'd look to purchase in this range, and your stop loss does go below your 50% retracement, so 0.01. Weekly time frame, if you were looking for a cup and handle for this to continue on to the upside, that would be your game plan. Now, looking for a profit target on that, you would be looking at something like, you'd be looking for something like an equilibrium swing or a one-to-one extension of the movement. That's measuring from the top. So you would actually want to measure it from your entry level for a one-to-one. So actually, the better way to do this, is with a fib trend extension. So trend-based fib extension, so we'd measure from the low to the high, and then from where we would want to be entering, and you're looking for an equilibrium swing of like, well, your 786 takes you to your next level of weekly resistance, which is 0.01548. Your equilibrium swing would bring you up to 0.0169. So that's the bullish case. That's the bullish scenario for Litecoin. Again, I think that looking at the entire market, I do expect a little bit of sideways consolidation and then a breakage to the downside. Would be my personal situation. Looking at Litecoin independently, though, if we just look at Litecoin and look at the coin itself, what do we see? See a nice bullish run right here. Let's see. We've got on the daily time frame, we do have regular bearish divergence. We had printed a red sell signal right here, and yes, I know we printed a red sell signal right there, but we also printed a buy signal right here, guys. So let's keep this into context. Profit taking when we're trading against the dominant trend until the dominant trend changes, or you're just looking to do it to trade it exactly as it purports to be traded. Let's actually look at the current time resolution. So still a daily bullish trend. We had a trend flip back down here at 115 roughly. Still a bullish daily trend. Coming up for a nice double top on resistance. And if this does reject from here, this would be a classic SFP, man. So we have a high, we raid the high right here, form a slightly higher high, and close lower than that. We're not actually able to convincingly close above the level, because you can see actually we closed lower than the previous swing high. We put in a regular bearish divergence on the higher time frame, on the daily time frame as well. And then we see price pullback, form a little bit of sideways consolidation for the last 2 days. I would expect this to move further to the downside. Really, the indicative factor here is, do we end up forming a lower high? If we end up forming a lower high, then I would expect us to form a lower low. Would be my analysis of Bitcoin. Of course, we can take the breakout if we do end up on the daily time frame getting above 0.013. For me, potentially closing a daily above that level and not just wicking above. Our next levels our next levels really to take profit. Well, we don't have really resistance until 0.015. So let's look at just looking at the daily time frame for potential take profit targets. We would definitely want to be taking profit here. Front running the resistance level. So that's the bullish scenario, but we already talked about the bullish level on the weekly time frame. If you wanted to be overly bullish, you would say to yourself, you'd say, Justin, the cup and handle has already been formed. And I would tell you, well, I don't trade cup and handles, but we'll take a look at it, man. So that would posit in that if we do end up breaking to the upside, that after the pullback. So let's actually take a look and see daily time frame. Let's see what that was a pullback to. Yeah, not even a pullback. It was a pullback to the 236. Oh, shoot. Now I've got big olness. I don't want big olness. All right, save as big ones. Yes, I'd like to replace. Okay, so yes, we did have that nice pullback to the 236. Again, generally when you're looking to buy a cup and handle pattern, and this is kind of congruent for all bullish continuation patterns, pull back to the 236.382, stop loss below the 0.5 is your longer term way to look at those things. So as we talked about on the weekly time frame, when we did the weekly analysis, looking at the midline of the 236 and the 382, looking for an optimum purchase there, that gave us the 786 right at resistance of 0.01548. Right now, we now see that 786 is above, and if we're looking for an equilibrium swing here, measured from the daily time frame, that would actually be at 0.0175. So I still have to look at this as a topping pattern. I still have to look at this as an SFP until proven wrong otherwise. I would expect us, and do expect us actually, to move further down. So this is now support. And if you're waiting for confirmation, then you're waiting for the daily to open and close below 0.0179. Right now, you're in the middle of the range. You're in that no man's land, so not really an area where you really want to do anything, honestly. But yeah, going down to the 8-hour time frame, what do we see here? We see a nice bullish retest of resistance. Price chugs its way up on low volume. We get a nice blow off top here. We get, yep, unnatural volume, longer wick to the upside. Price does move in the opposite direction. Now, we do have 8-hour hidden bullish divergence right here, and we are getting a nice reaction from that. So again, the indication that I want to see is when we top on this next cycle, do we form a lower high? If we form a lower high overall, then I would expect to see a lower low. Nice. Mm-hmm. Done. See what else here. Let's check it. Whoa, that's a lot. That's a scam. Or Los Matos. We shall see. Well, you kept gently. Hey, says, thank you for the good points. I'm a long-term hodler of ZERP and nothing else. I bought it because it seems to be run by the kind of establishment scumbags who end up putting everything. Oh, man. Yeah, for sure, Mel. So we want to check out Bcash, Satoshi's Vision. Any good books about Forex or crypto? Yeah, man, a ton, dude. I've got like several hundred books in our database resource library. What do I think about Forex trading? Used to trade Forex, man. Do I prefer trading crypto over Forex? Yes. Why does Hit BTC charge so much if you want to move your coins token to Ledger? Because that's a scam! A natural volume is volume that is over the volume moving average, or just a lot of volume, just a ton of volume, man. Big volume spike. Triple. Neo's gonna be $1,000 in my opinion. Hell yeah. Going to the moon, man. Get your boots on. Gonna be like. Right on, right on, right on. Good stuff, dude. I think ZERP's gonna move up a little bit higher, guys. It was an underperformer, so it would not surprise me to see higher price appreciation from this. You had this nice long tail of the downside after a little bit of consolidation, stop loss hunt. After this, yeah, man, this thing's probably gonna move higher. And just as I said, man, you guys, I was looking at this. I was looking at this right before I went on the show, and I was like, it looked like a good buy. And then I didn't. I did the show, so it's too late now. I won't be chasing something like that. So we'll see how it's K7 Jixer, what's going on, man? Question. Do I chart Bcash USD on Kraken? Nah, I don't. I need to chart. I probably need to chart on Kraken more, but I just mostly, I mean, most of what I trade is, I mostly trade Ethereum. I mostly trade Ethereum and Bitcoin on MEX. And so most of the charts I look at on a daily basis are going to be these four right here. So Tether. I reference everything against Tether. I think BTC USDT moves the markets on MEX. I really do. Or that's not completely accurate, but hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. Get good direction on MEX, man. You get good direction on MEX. And then I trade. I use USDT pairings on Ripple. So this is where I sit at. That's why I have my two tabs right here. So I have this, which is pretty much what I actively trade, and then I have this watch list. I'm not in anything. Because it's the we spend a lot of time with. Last things I traded on Binance was ADA USDT, BNB USDT, Link, ONG. That's pretty much what I day trade is the tether pairs. The reason why I like the tether pairs more is because they're you can sit in fiat more, and as opposed to trading a lot of the altcoins on MEX, it's harder to manipulate the markets. It's more reliable. The technical analysis is cleaner. The trades are cleaner. But my wife still doesn't believe. Hey, thoughts on VET? Yeah, we traded VET. So if you guys go check out the Free Signals channel in In the Discord, discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com, guys. I called, let me pull it up here right here. I called VeChain quite a while ago. I post this for some reason. So did Horizon. Back on the 20th of February. You guys can go look at that right now. If you want, if you're so inclined. Mediums, so VeChain's going to be right here. So, the last time I was looking at VeChain, I was looking for a bullish reaction off support here at 108, which we did get. You had shorter term targets right here. I don't have the longer term targets. I just have support and resistance on here. But I talked about taking profit at 120, 125, and 133. So 120 and 125 is come and gone. 133 is kind of our next area. If we can get over 128 is current local range resistance at 128. So we'll see how that plays out. Nice looking at the 8 hour. Nice bull flag pattern right here where you have price contraction to the downside and a nice bullish reaction off the top. Don't really like this candle right there because sometimes it's continuation and sometimes it's a harbinger of a failed rally to the upside. But all that can be really said about VeChain is, if you bought anywhere down here, I don't really have a strong opinion on it. Got current, again, we've got range resistance at 128. So just being realistic, looking at this pattern right here and getting a nice reaction off of it, it's a potential buy. You pretty much double up if you close your 8 hour above 122. And you look to take profit at around 128, or you front run 128. But if we take a wider look at VeChain right here, we've got resistance. What happens every time we hit resistance? Go down. This time will be different. Maybe, could be. Just wait for that breakout, man. What you definitely don't do is you don't enter in the middle of the range, unless you've got some bullish indications that you should be entering into your trade. I think more often than not you're likely to fail off of that. But like I said, 3 hour time frame, nice bullish contraction to the downside, potential breakout to the upside. Just classic bull flag pattern, man. I don't do measured moves or anything like that, but dun 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 dun. Good move, Jay, man. Hell yeah. Bolivian Billionaire. Hey, thanks so much, man. I appreciate the comment. It is 6:59. Sorry, guys. It is movie night. It's Saturday. Gotta go. So, just brief recap on everything that's going on, guys. I am pretty fucking bearish. For real, guys. So I do have a short position open on XBT USD, guys. I did, and this is going to sound like blah. I really wanted to be short on Ethereum. But I had to spend the day away from my computer with my family, so I wasn't able to get the best entry that I want, although right now it looks really damn good, I'm not going to lie. Anyways, so here's the 5-minute time frame for Ethereum. Actually, right before I started the show, I got a buy signal on the 5-minute TT, so I went at high volatility. You guys DM anybody if you want. Scalped it to the upside, 159.18. It's about a 1% profit. Not too bad to throw in my one day trade a day. I figured I had to do something for Saturday, so that was a pretty good trade. Right now, sitting in a positional short for XBT USD. I've talked about the metrics here. Oh, sorry, that's Tether. Let's pull open the metrics here. So as we can see right here, here's my stop loss up here, 42.28. From my entry, it'll be about a 2.7% loss if that triggers. Hourly needs to open and close above that level for me to happen. If that should happen, then my current thought process is that most likely, if that does happen, then we will probably look to retest. Dun, dun, dun. then we'll probably potentially look to retest the upper high of that bearish equilibrium block, which is 44.20 on MEX. So at that point in time, if my stop loss does get triggered, I'll probably wait for a pullback and look to enter into a long up to that area. But really skittish about that, man. Really skittish. I do not like longing into an area where I think that there's lots of piranhas and land sharks just lying around waiting to strike. So listen, guys, I could be completely wrong, but here's what I'm hearing. Everywhere else on YouTube, I'm hearing everybody, and it's just not just YouTube, but and again, this is just what everybody tells me. I'm seeing it on Twitter. Everybody's got their moon boots on. Everybody's screaming for 6,000. Could totally happen, man. Could totally happen. And I'm willing to get stopped out a couple times before I say, all right, guys, yeah, okay, let's go. Why? Because you're talking about the risk to reward from here to here or here to these levels. Like, it's worth being cautious about. It's worth being cautious before you throw your money into the market where you no longer have control over it. Now the market's in control. Until you click that button, you are in control. Once you click the button, you're no longer in control. So when we're entering into an area in the market where I've been saying for a long time, guys, hey, when we came up to resistance, talked about going short. We came up to resistance again, talked about going short. We came up to resistance again, talked about going short. Took the breakout of the nice pattern on Ethereum. So that's the last positional trade from Ethereum. Long from 122.50. Out of that trade though. Dang it, I was just talking about that. That was a good entry. But all right, it's all good. I've got I'm not going to take two correlated trades in the same direction. Even though I think Ethereum is going to go right along. Ethereum's going to go right along with Bitcoin. And yeah, there's more risk to reward, but I don't know. Maybe it's a personal thing. But I'm going to open up my short on Ethereum, or excuse me, on Bitcoin, which I already have open. Don't really feel the need to take Ethereum short with it. That doesn't make any sense to me. I choose you, Bitcoin. I choose you to short. And then I'll probably look to scalp long other altcoins. I think that altcoins are going to pump right now. That would not surprise me one bit. So I think you've got pretty good opportunities. EOS. If I had to choose a coin that I'd also like to short alongside, EOS would be it. It's really overextended. EOS and Litecoin would be my choices for wanting to short. Any hoosers, guys. That's about it for me today, guys. Let's do the regular. Hey, no problem, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday evening with me. You've all been fantastic people. I hope, listen, don't get wrecked out there, guys. Be very cautious. Be very cautious with your positions, man. Again, like I said, once you click that button, man, you're no longer in control. So make sure that make sure that you're willing to accept a loss anytime you click the button, and make sure that that you feel confident about what you're doing. I talked about BTT a while ago, man. Looking for that breakout trade. Did not do what I wanted it to do. Didn't open and close the 3-hour candle above resistance. Hasn't opened and closed the 3-hour candle above resistance yet. Every time it's poked its head up here, it's gotten rejected, man. So I do have my initiation level now. So I'm going to wait for that. Wait for my initiation level, wait for a pullback, and then I'll go long on BTT USDT. But not until then, man. This smells so much like this smells so much like distribution, man. Nice symmetrical pattern, could break to the upside, but it does have the potential to break to the downside. So the next entries are going to be the entry for a breakout trade, 3-hour candle opening and closing above resistance, preferably above the equilibrium line. I think if we open and close the 3-hour candle above the resistance downtrend right here, and then get a kickoff, get a push off, I might enter like 15% of a regular position size. I'll add the rest if we open and close, pull back and get a kickoff off my initiation level coming in at 102.320 is what I'm going to do with BTT. I've been keeping my eyes on this for a while. So, again, time transformation, doing real yeoman's work here on the 3-hour time frame as well for BTT. So if we come back down to the ascending trend line, that'll be the third touch of the ascending trend line. If we get an oversold signal, buy signal on time transformation, I'll take a stab there too. but that'll be a scalp. That'll be a lower, could turn into a longer term trade. Depends on if you break resistance. Always actively monitoring my position. So that's it, guys. All right. Thank you so much for joining the show, man. You guys are fantastic, awesome, wonderful people, man. Thank you so much, Jasper, dude. I was able to get liquidated on TRX. Hey, congratulations, man. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Hop in the Discord. Hop in the Discord next time, man. Technical analysis channel is a good resource in there, I do believe. So we are still giving away, guys. If this is your first time to the show, make sure to support us, man. Hit those thumbs up buttons. We highly appreciate it, man. Give us a sub if this is your first time. We're here every day on the weekends from 5 to 7. You'll see the schedule here in a little bit from Monday through Friday from 12 to 2. Check out x42.krakencryptocurrency.com, guys. If you just go to our website, krakencryptocurrency.com, you're going to see the pop-up, take you right to the giveaway. 916 total entrants. Let's see if we can make it over 1,000, guys. We're giving away 5 masternodes worth of x42. There's 8 days left in the competition, so really pleased that we made the investment on this giveaway platform. So you guys can take part in this using any of your existing social media accounts. And if you guys just go show some love for x42 in the cryptocurrency community, you guys are going to have your opportunity to win a masternode worth of x42, guys. So very excited. Okay. Big shout out to proud supporters of the show, guys. Make sure you guys go check out X42, MMO coin, Spectre Security coin, and of course, your crypto daily, guys. I believe the links are in the description down below, or they're in the Discord, guys. They all have their own separate channels in the Discord. So again, thank you, everybody. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. We do have the X42. If you guys want to trade along with us, guys, if you want to have more access to my analysis, if you want to get access to all the traders and analysts who work for Kraken Cryptocurrency, if you want to get access to their trades, to their trade setups, then you guys should consider checking out the link at the top of the screen right there, premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. You guys can join our premium trading group, get access to all our trade signals and setups, our community, access to the private Discord, the members lounge, the VIP day trading voice chat, our resource library where we have books, courses, webinars, seminars, everything that you need to supplement your journey into trading, as well as access to my personal webinar series designed to teach you how to be a profitable trader and follow along with my strategies, as well as access to all our indicators as well. Still looking for people to help us out a little bit behind the scenes, guys. So Jasper, highly appreciate you helping us out, man. If anybody wants to help us out with writing articles, with doing a little bit of graphic design for thumbnails for the show, or for helping us out with a little bit of videography, feel free to DM me in the Discord or hit us up at contact@krakencryptocurrency.com. And I want to ask you guys a question, man. Keep the conversation going on in the Discord. Do you think that we're going to 4,500, 5,000? Or do you think we're going down to 2,500? That's the question that I want you guys to answer. Hop in the Discord, discord.krakencryptocurrency.com. I want to know what you guys think, guys. So until tomorrow, guys, you guys have a fantastic evening. Trade safely.